Welcome back, it's Ryzen, and today I wanted to talk about Shonen Jump's newest manga, Show-Ha-Shoten. So this just actually dropped today, maybe yesterday if you're watching this right now. And I read the first two chapters and I really enjoyed it. And I just kind of wanted to hop on here and talk about it. So yeah, before I get right into it, if you enjoy anime and manga content, I have a ton uploaded on the channel already, so be sure to check that out and subscribe if you're interested. Additionally, if you're watching this video at any point and you happen to enjoy it, leaving a like would be very much appreciated. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to start out by summarizing it. So the main premise of this story is that we have this young boy, and his name is Azemichi Shijima. I'm gonna just call him Shijima. And we're introduced to him as somebody who he tries to talk to this girl, and she's moving out. Before she leaves, she has one single request to him, and that is to make her laugh. She just wants to smile and laugh the last time she sees him, and he has absolutely nothing. He tells her, "I can't." And she responds to this by saying, "Wow, I guess, that was too much to ask of you. By the way, I loved you, and I'm pregnant with your child, and I'm moving to Jamaica." Nah, I'm just kidding. But she said that she loved him, or not loved him, she liked him. She had a little crush on him. And she left just like that. And this kind of left our main character heartbroken. And after that, he decided he wanted to pursue comedy. He wanted to learn how to make people laugh so he would never experience this again. And, time passes, and it turns out he's kind of a prodigy. He's incredibly talented at comedy, and not only that, he's just incredibly intelligent and talented in general. He pretty much is implied to have top grades in all of his classes, and his parents are putting him in cram school, and as of now, he is projected to be able to go to a top-tier university and just be somebody big in the world. But that's not what he truly wants, though. What he truly wants deep down in his heart is to be a comedian. And as you can see, this is very interesting. It's something that has been played upon a lot in stories, but I kind of like the way this story does it. I'll get into it a bit more. And enter our deuteragonist. His name is Taiyo Higashikata. I only know how to say that because of JoJo's, but I'm gonna just call him Higashikata. He is the polar opposite of our main character. Our main character is very good in terms of his script writing and his intelligence, but Higashikata is very good at his acting and the way he portrays himself with self-confidence on the stage. He got this from being a childhood actor. And this directly conflicts with our main character, who, I forgot to mention this, is absolutely terrible at public speaking in general. Not even just public speaking, just anything where he has to speak, he just can't do it. Like at one point, he has this answer to this really complicated math problem, and the teacher's like, "Oh, does anybody have an answer? I'll give a surprise to anybody who gets it right." And he just doesn't raise his hand. At one point, he gets a text asking him to be on a radio show because he's like apparently, according to Redditors, he's like the #1 comedian in Japan, and they try to set up like a phone interview with him, like not even in person, just like a phone thing, and he declined it because he was too nervous. But our deuteragonist, on the other hand, is somebody who would absolutely take advantage of that. And it's kind of like the typical thing, like Haikyuu. They always have this where, like, one character is like completely is able to compensate for what the other character lacks in. But the way these characters do it, it's pretty interesting. I've never really seen anything like this in a setting of stand-up comedy. I think the fact that this manga is a comedy manga focused on stand-up comedy is very interesting. I never really thought that something like this could work, but upon seeing it, materialized in these few chapters, I think it was done very well, because in a lot of these comedy manga, there has to be some other substance besides the comedy. And we have, for example, Spy Family. We have the deep relationships and the connections, and in Love is War, again, more romance. And even in other manga like let's say Gintama, we have the serious fighting. But here, when stuff gets serious, when stuff gets intense, it's going to be even more comedy. And I find that to be interesting. At first, I thought that something like that wouldn't work, but then I kind of realized that the comedy is going to be entirely different, because for the most part, they're using skits. So it's kind of like we're taking a break from comedy by introducing more comedy. So I think it's going to be really good. in terms of what I think of the characters, they're all very likable. The main character's dad has a really interesting backstory. So if you haven't seen it by now, then go watch it, then come back. But the main character's dad pretty much, he wanted to be a musician. And he spent 15 years of his life trying to produce music. He was basically like one of those guys that just walks around LA trying to sell his mixtape like a bum, and nobody wants that. And then like he basically just realized, yeah, I wasted 15 years of my life doing absolutely nothing. I could have been furthering my education. I could have been doing anything. I literally have nothing to show for it. And he just doesn't want his son to go down that same path. When his son tells him he wants to be a comedian, he says, absolutely not. Look at the future that you have ahead of you. You can be a top scholar. You can go to this #1 school. You can do all of this stuff. And I just don't want you to throw it away like I did. And I find that to be really interesting. I mean, stuff like this, we see it in like TV all the time, but it is a very powerful message. And like, for example, like in my life, yeah, I would absolutely want to like, drop out of school and pursue this YouTube. But like, obviously, bro, I mean, look at the sub count. It's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, just seeing people actually drop everything. Yeah, I know he's not dropping out of school, but like, he's putting that to the side. He's putting school to the side and actually going to pursue comedy as his #1 main driving force in life. I find that to be fascinating, especially comedy, because at least with art, you can kind of see your own art and look at it and say, yeah, that's not the greatest. But with comedy being so subjective, it's really hard when somebody tells you, hey, you're not funny, because to you, in your brain, everything that you say is funny. That's why you wrote it in the first place, right? It's not like art where you can look at it and be like, yeah, this is bad, or this is not up to my par. It's just like when somebody tells you you're not funny, it's just kind of like an insult, I don't know. I think that this just has potential to go to the moon, really. And yeah, there was a couple more things I wanted to mention. I don't know, I kind of just briefly went over what I thought about the characters. I didn't really do it too much justice. I kind of wanted to just get this video out there, say what I thought about it. The comedy in general was very, very good. I actually laughed like probably like half a dozen times while reading it, and I usually don't laugh while reading manga, so that was pretty good. The art, by the way, is fantastic. Sometimes it gets like really serious, like it looks like a shonen battle manga, then other times, it's just normal. The paneling is really interesting. They do a really great job with the art, and the artist is actually, I think, the same artist from Death Note, so that's really good. And yeah, there's a couple other anime and manga references scattered throughout. I found it pretty funny. There was like a direct Death Note reference too, actually, which was pretty hilarious. But yeah, in terms of how I see this series going, I can definitely see it being like a kind of a Haikyuu style thing, but instead of volleyball, we just have comedy. And in addition, I was actually learning a lot about comedy. Like the main character, as I mentioned before, is very intelligent. So when he was kind of explaining the comedy, he was actually teaching the audience, the readers rather, a lot about comedy. So I think it's very interesting. I think it has the potential to really do good, and I might start reviewing it. I'm not sure. I'm terrible, by the way. Whenever I say I'm gonna review stuff, I just don't do it, so maybe I won't. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. In terms of those 2 chapters, I'd say it's like a solid 9 out of 10. I'd recommend it to pretty much anyone. And yeah, I just want to get this video out there. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and check out my other content. See you guys.